Welcome back, Alpha Hunters. Hope everybody's having a great and terrific Thursday. We are seeing the market be a little choppy today. It's had some swings, some ebbs, and some flows. So let's talk about it. A little bit of a gap up, a little bit of trade down. Nice run here that we did have for about an hour and a half, a little bit over an hour and a half in the morning session. And then we just kind of rolled down then for about 2 hours. So kind of where we are now. Nice little strong 5 minute, bounce there off the low of the day. That was kind of significant about that is we snagged right there the low from yesterday. So we traded all the way back down. We took that low, and then that was where we found the really strong bounce. We do have this little bit of a pennant pattern kind of forming here, a triangle pattern here over the past 40 minutes. So we'll see what happens. Typically, when you get something like this, where you get this very strong bounce, let me grab the marker. Typically, when you get a very strong bounce, see it kind of pull back, and then it'll do that. If it does that, it'll continue higher. So if we do something like this, which I say we kind of have done a little bit of that. If we take out that high, you just expect it to probably go higher. That'd be probably my take. Wouldn't really say like it'd be like a multi-day run, but probably for the day, for the next couple of hours, maybe just continue to go higher, maybe go into close, maybe even continue to early tomorrow morning, possibly. But we are consolidating here, so if we start to break down, we might just see the market just continue to sell off. If we do break down here over the next 15 minutes, so we'll see how that goes. But towards the end of after we do the sector recap or whatever, there's a very interesting article or headline out about Novo Nordisk and Eli Lilly. They have these great and fantastic weight loss drugs. You've probably heard of them. Ozempic is one of them. That one's from Novo Nordisk. Anyways, pretty interesting headline. We'll take a look at that when we do after sector rotation. As far as the Qs are concerned, well, this one doesn't have as much of, I guess, a straight out to the side triangle. It's a little bit more of a downward kind of triangle. Okay. Definitely a little bit more bearishness here. Qs are down 0.5%. SPY's down 0.2%. IWM actually was doing pretty good this morning. IWM was up over 1% today. Let me see here. So we did gap up on the IWM 0.35%. You can see we traded negative there. And then we went on a run. We got up to 1.35% or so there at the high of the day. And you can see we've come all the way back. We're basically flat right now. Turning negative right there on the IWM. So, okay, we'll have to see what that looks like on the daily. Nice gap up here on the DIA. Traded bullish there for the first 2 hours or so. And then, had a nice sell down. Been negative ever since over the past like 30 to 40 minutes mostly. RSP, yep. Also gapped up, a little bit of a sell down. And they went on a pretty good run there. Nice sell down here over the past couple hours. All right. So that's kind of how it looks intraday across these guys. Let's see, okay, sitting right on that 100. We're not bouncing. What's getting kind of concerning here on the RSP is it's starting to like get weaker now, possibly making its way through. Let me go to a little bit longer term intraday. Yeah, I mean, we're not really bouncing off this 100 moving average on the daily. It's right at that daily time frame, and we're starting to kind of creep through that 100. So I'd be watching. I would be careful about trying to take that bearish if we do break this 100 today or tomorrow. I would say definitely today. Be careful in trying to take that today. It's almost like the market's trying to set you up. Like, hey, we're going to close below the 100. Probably get you to think like, hey, now we're going to go down to the 200. And then you can see us, the market probably bounce Friday, Monday, or something like that. So I'd be a little bit cautious on that, just because we've also had multiple days down in a row, over a week of red candles there. So the DIA just sideways under that 100, kind of a retest higher right into that 100 today. You get that 10 EMA coming down, about to possibly push down the price level here. So okay, DIA not looking great. IWM, huge upper wick there, kind of flat from yesterday. It might be moving. Maybe we'll move down to the 200 here soon. Q's, yeah, Q's getting really close to that 100 moving average. That's going to be a cautious level right there. And this might be one reason why you probably don't want to be bearish. You know, looking at that RSP or something like that, you don't want to be bearish right away because the Qs are about to hit that 100, and I would imagine they find some kind of buyers there, some kind of strength there, and maybe it pauses for a day. You probably have to see if you do get definitely a bounce, then the next time it kind of comes back down and tries to take that out. You know, even if it's like a half day or a day bounce, then you just put an entry below that and just say, hey, you know, I'm gonna take that lower, and we'll see how that looks here over the next couple days. SPY. All right, SPY. Well, at the session lows, it doesn't look great. Definitely have some room to fall to that 100. If the Qs fall below its 100, then that would be about probably the only way you're gonna get the SPY to fall to its 100. And I mean, the Qs might fall a little bit more, maybe down to maybe like some of these levels right here. That'd get maybe the SPY to drop to, you know, the SPY 100 SMA on the daily here. So that'd be possibly what I don't think I would want to be. Oh man, that's so tough. It is so tough because man, they're not lined up perfectly. I don't think I would want to be bearish, particularly because the Qs is going to come into that 100. If it breaks through that and the SPY, and it is gonna drop and it's gonna take the SPY down to the 100. That would be a spot where I would actually look for a quick bounce. Like if this happens all in the next like day or two, maybe by Monday, if like we get down to that 100 moving average on SPY, that means the Qs broke its 100. I would look for a bounce there. And I'm not saying you're going to be like, oh, okay, we're all in, back being bullish, kind of a bounce. But I would say like we're at least going to pause there if the SPY gets down to that it's 100 here in just one move. Other than that, man, yeah, market has not been particularly strong, and the market usually is not strong when it gets through that 50 EMA, because you just got big air pockets. Now you just get to the big air pockets, right? You got the 10, the 20, they're all kind of tight. They're all kind of the trend runners. Then you get the 50. A lot of people will still pay attention to the 50. There's times before, I'm not going to go back to previous kind of market cycles, but the 50, people will buy off of that. They will buy the dips off of that. But if you get through that 50, yeah, you're starting to get a lot bigger pockets between these moving averages. So if you get through that 50, you go down to that 100, and obviously you get through that 100, and then you got a pretty big pocket here to the 200. But you just need to be mindful of any kind of pivot levels of different price action before that would be significant, like previous all-time high levels, which is what this blue line is. That, you know, that's stuff you're going to need to pay attention to. VIX. I mean, the market's down. The VIX is still dropping a little bit. I mean, it's not like I mean, the market. the VIX did jump pretty good Friday, Monday. You know, and we've continued to see the market sell off Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday, and the VIX has come down each one of those days. So, I mean, that's kind of what you're talking about when you change that momentum. And we're not seeing huge bearish action the past 3 days, but we're definitely seeing breakdowns through certain levels. And I'd imagine we probably just continue to see it happen. So, anyways, the VIX not really giving us too much in the way of panic. So we'll probably continue to see the market sell off, honestly. DXY, nice bounce back today. A nice little pullback day today, yesterday. I was surprised it made it as high as it did over the previous several days. I would probably still wait a couple more days. It's still a little bit more deviated away from that 10 EMA, and I would think you would really like to be bullish on the DXY on the dollar here. So I would wait maybe a couple more days, see if this can consolidate, maybe like another day or two, maybe tomorrow, maybe Monday. See if that 10 EMA can get a little bit up closer to it. If not, maybe this thing will just scorch higher here the next couple days. I wouldn't bet on that, but if that does happen, oof, I don't want. I'd imagine the market's not having a great day. Gold, GLD Trust, or GLD, the Gold Trust. Said that backwards. Yeah, nice gap up here on the GLD. I'm going to take a look at the futures. I mean, gold's just doing so well. I mean, dollar's bouncing back today. Gold hasn't really dropped off or given the indication it's going to pull back. I mean, it definitely could. I would still just, yeah, I mean, just be buyer many dips on gold. That's it. Yields, man. Yields. My favorite thing. My favorite. Oh my gosh. Yields is like the one thing that would absolutely destroy this market. And the market's hasn't been taking it serious. It has started to recently, but if yields continue just to push higher, then yeah, I mean, the market's going to have to come to terms with, yeah, we have higher interest rates. And the thing that I'm going to say here, and I've kind of been thinking about this over the past couple of days, is it comes down to the U.S. government, right? The U.S. government spends so much money; they're the ones that are sending yields higher. Now, you might not be like they're not the ones really sending it higher. I get that, but they spend so much money that now you are getting to a scenario of inflation. They're starting to have to pay a lot more on interest, a lot more interest out, and it's one where I think the U.S. government and the politicians are going to have to decide: do they want to continue to support the public sector or the private sector? Right, the public sector being, well, government, funded everything, anything and everything, or are they going to have to cut government spending to make interest rates drop to save the private sector? Because I don't think the private sector is going to continue to just hum along if interest rates continue to rise. I mean, I think we'll be past 5%, probably by Q4, and yeah, I think it's going to come down to the politician. I don't even think Jerome Powell's. I think this is going to be above him. I think it's going to be several hundred politicians are going to have to figure out how to cut spending. They got to cut spending drastically. That to me is what is going to determine the market, because the interest rates are going to continue to go higher, yields are going to continue to go higher, and that is going to be a disaster for the market, because the private sector most likely won't be able to handle it. It's just there's too much leverage out there for how much we are seeing interest rates, how much interest rates have changed over the past 4 years. And if they continue to go up at kind of how much they have been doing over the past couple of years, I mean, that's just not going to be a great recipe for. Let me get off log. There we go. That's a little bit better. It's just not going to be a great recipe for how much leverage has been put into the system because of this really low interest rate environment that we had for about 2 years, right? For about 2 years. You can even say from 2019 to 2022, or yeah, halfway through 2022. So about 3 years, 2 to 3 years, somewhere in there. A lot of leverage got put into the system, and once everybody's going to have to deleverage to a higher interest rate, or interest rates keep going higher, yields keep going higher, people are going to have to deleverage, and that's going to be the thing that kind of breaks the private sector, is deleveraging. That's what happens when you get rising interest rates. People have to deleverage. Anyways, all right, I'm done talking about it. Let's see what 30 years doing, and then we'll see what 2 years doing. 30 years still kind of making its way through the upper ends of this channel. Okay, still kind of hanging in to the upper ends of that channel. US 2-year. Man, that looks pretty strong. That looks pretty strong. I was kind of curious how it was going to end yesterday. Didn't quite form the bearish engulfing. This looks pretty good. I like that pop. I mean, if you saw this on like a stock chart, you'd be like, yeah, I like that pop. I like this consolidation. That looks very bullish. Yeah, I would expect 2-year yields to keep moving higher. I mean, that's about it. 10-2 inversion, continuing the upswing. Yeah, I mean, until we kind of really solidly break these highs, we need to get up over this negative -0.3 number, and we'll probably be on a serious upswing. HYG still just hanging on to that 200 moving average, kind of getting into that area. Okay. Obviously, if it breaks that, we'll look at different price levels below that. LQD, yeah, it was a retest yesterday, kind of breaking back down today. So see what happens there over the next couple of days. TLT breaking back down again today. Yeah, it's just kind of hanging out. Just retest yesterday, and we kind of talked about that Tuesday, where not Tuesday, sorry, Monday, where we were kind of breaking the lower ends of this channel, right? This little channel here, and we looked at a previous time in history where we kind of did this. We had the downward channel, and then we broke it in the downward direction. But we initially did that, and you had to bounce back, and you kind of had to hang out like a 4 or 5 day kind of hangout, and then it just waterfalled off. So, and that lasted for like a month. So that might be something that, if it continues to kind of go sideways here for maybe into like Monday, possibly Tuesday, I could definitely make the case of taking that TLT bearish, and seeing a pretty good drop off, maybe back down to these lows, or maybe breaking those lows back down. All right, so let's take a look at the sector rotation. All right, we got communications leading the day. XLC, okay, all right. So Alphabet or Meta is doing really well today. Financials, utilities, staples doing pretty good. Healthcare, real estate, materials, industrials doing pretty good. All outperforming. Energy's kind of in line with the market there. Kind of, I guess, a little bit underperforming. Discretionaries underperforming a little bit there. Tech is underperforming pretty good there today. Down 0.93%, almost down 1%. It has been down over 1%. So that's how things are looking today. Let's see without the gap how things kind of look. And you see XLC, yeah, communication doing pretty good. We're going to take a look at Alphabet Meta. Utilities doing pretty good. Healthcare, staples doing pretty good. Real estate, financials, all outperforming. Discretionaries, industrials, tech, all barely underperforming there. Materials, energies, down at the lower ends of the intraday. So, this is kind of an interesting one. This actually came out of Bloomberg, but I saw this on Twitter, so I'll bring this up real quick. So, if you didn't hear about this, I guess the headline's called Ozempic Oops Babies Spark Debate About Use as Fertility Drugs. This is kind of interesting. I didn't read this whole article, but I just read this very brief kind of introduction to the article. But a surprising thing is happening to some women on weight loss drugs who struggle with fertility issues. They're getting pregnant. That's leading to questions about the safety of medications from Novo Nordisk and Eli Lilly during pregnancy. I thought I couldn't have drugs. I thought I couldn't have kids anymore. You should never have drugs, said Tura Legit, 40, who had been trying for another after her first child was born in 2018. In 2022, the social worker from Whiteville, North Carolina, began taking Novo's Ozempic to treat obesity, then switched to Lilly's Mounjaro. I'm going to say Mounjaro. As the pounds melted off, there was soon another reason to celebrate. She was expecting the weight loss that likely what jump-started it. She said, I couldn't believe it. So it's amazing that people are getting pregnant from losing weight because, your body knows more about its health situation than you do. consciously. So if you're a big fatty and you're trying to get pregnant, your body's probably going to say, no, I don't want to get pregnant. So anyways, I thought that was interesting. And apparently they are, the other kind of end part there is they're starting to use that in fertility treatments. I don't think I would use that as a fertility treatment. Like if you're a healthy person, like you appear healthy, right, and you just have a hard time getting pregnant or whatever. I mean, there's a difference between fertility treatments and like weight loss. Like if you have a weight loss problem, if you're obese, then yeah, you probably just need to lose some weight. That's different from like fertility treatment. So